In a previous video you had an overview of Contextor Studio. This film will allow you to familiarize yourself with objects declarations, compilation as well as the actual launch of the robot, with the debugger. You will also discover how to directly set values in a field, or get from it. After launching the studio, you need to create a project, which will be the real base to receive declared items and scripts. To do so, go to File menu and select New Project. You can also click on the corresponding icon, or hold down Ctrl and N keys. In the window that appears, you must fill in the project name, title and client name fields. You may also leave a comment on the project, and change the project working directory. Then validate the creation by clicking on the OK button. In this example, we work with the sample CRM, a Windows application, and eligibility application, launched with Internet Explorer. But you could also launch the web application with Chrome, or Firefox. Just check the extensions and parameters. To begin with the first application, click right in the left zone, to add a new application. Select the corresponding technology, choose the application name in the list and click the Select button. Of course, to do that, make sure that the application is launched. Validate the next pop-up, to confirm the capture. If needed, you can change the application name that will be used in the studio. Once the application is declared, you can now double-click on the thumbnail to capture a page. For this simple application, just click once on the Capture and Edit button. Then move the mouse over the main page of the application, and hold down the Control key. The window is surrounded by a red border. Then click a second time on the same Capture and Edit button. Another little pop-up displayed, possibly to change the page name, and start the capture, by clicking on the button. Don't worry, if you miss to rename an object, you'll be able to do it later. The page is now captured. You need to set criteria to correctly declare it. Check first that the application criterion is set. Set by default with the executable name for a Windows application. For the criteria page or application, the goal is to find a property or a set of properties that won't change. Let's imagine in our example that the title won't be modified. There are two ways to set a criterion. Right-click on the property, in the Capture Data Zone, and select the Set Criterion menu. Or directly double-click on the property. Let's go on now with the items declaration. All the items are captured with the page, but all these of interest to us must be formally declared. The first step is to select an item in the page view. You can double-click on it, or right-click on it and select the Associate to New Item menu. If needed, you can also change the item name. Just click on the item on the left, press F2 key, and change the name. The second step is to set the property. The rules are the same as for the page. The first item is declared. You can do the same with the others. In our process, the second application is a web application. Recognition, declaration, of application, page and items are almost the same. The criterion for the application or page may be a part of the URL. Select the part in the criterion zone and validate the Update button. We'll see later how to set strategic and sustainable criteria. A huge difference with web application is that when you double-click on an item to declare it, the ID property is set by default, and the name is composed with the name. Of course, item must have an ID. Once all the needed items are declared, the project can be compiled. But before that, let's take a little break to save the project. Then, press the Build button, or hold on Ctrl and B keys. Here, the output zone indicates that there were no errors. It's time to run the robot. We propose to run in debug mode, to see events and manage fields. You can see in the debugger that the two applications are started and the first page is loaded. Let's use now the tester, also included in the debugger, to check that every object is correctly declared. We are going to set a value in a field and click, as if a user has done it. We select progressively the application, the page and the item. And then, ask for a set in the field, inputting the value. Many actions are available, for a page or an item. Press Add button to see the corresponding code. Press Execute to launch the copy. The process is the same with the button. Select the click action. And then, click on Add and Execute buttons. In the sample CRM application, Search button has been clicked and information displayed. Let's do it the same way with Eligibility application. We can set the O contracted field with a value. And click on the Query button to display information. And still with the debugger, we can get fields from an application. It's the same process. This is very useful to check at the very beginning if a field can be accessed to set or get data. To finish with that short demo, if an application ends, the debugger gets the event and displays it in the log. We hope that this first tutorial helped you in technically understanding how declarations influence events and how to orchestrate processes. We propose you to end this video and prepare the next one, by declaring all the needed fields in the two applications. Concerning the sample CRM application, for example the name, first name, and the three fields, Field 1, Field 2 and Field 3. And the last three input fields in Eligibility application. Completing these declarations, you'll be ready to jump into the next tutorial, in which you'll succeed to realize your first automation script.